Hey guys, welcome back to the Fantasy Goods for our third installment of our fantasy football rankings for 2020. My name is Josh Lipinski McHale. This is Ben Barcelona.
You already know it. You already know the deal.
Thanks for watching. Remember, click the like on the video, hit the subscribe button for more content coming at you, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Show us some love. We always love the feedback.
Definitely.
So now we're up to our third round. This is going to be 25 to 36. We're comparing our rankings to Fantasy Pros. That way you guys see kind of where we got compared to other guys. But right here at 25, Fantasy Pros has DJ Moore of the Panthers going. Meanwhile, me and Ben have someone a little different. So, Ben, go ahead. Tell them who you got here.
Yeah, no, Josh. It might be a surprise to everybody. I have Todd Gurley going here. Now, he's in Atlanta, and I know what you're thinking. You know, Atlanta is a throwing offense. You know, they love to throw the ball. But when you think about Todd Gurley and the Rams 2-3 years ago, his fantasy points, when he was a number one fantasy running back, like, he got the PPR catches. And I think it fits perfectly for what Atlanta wants out of it. I mean, they did it with Devontae Freeman. Why not upgrade it to Todd Gurley? And we already seen what he can do when he can catch the ball. That's why I have him in a little bit of an upside this year. You know, I just like him where he is, at least where I put him, you know, and I think he can definitely put up potential RB1 numbers, but definitely consistent RB2 numbers. What do you got, Josh?
Definitely not as high on Gurley as you are, but I'm going to go with a guy who I think has the best chance of having the biggest comeback year, and that's Juju Smith-Schuster, the wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know, what? But look, this guy finished wide receiver 65 last season and was atrocious all around. 522 yards, you know, had zero bright spots to talk about last season. But what I have to say is forget about it. Forget about everything that happened with Pittsburgh last season because Big Ben was injured after week 2.
It's all a fugazi.
It's not real.
A fugazi.
He had backup quarterbacks like Mason Denthead Rudolph and Delvin Duck Hodges, you know, so he did not have good quarterback play, which is extremely important for a wide receiver to succeed. He was also nicked up a couple games in the year. I think he missed 4 games, but you know, with bad backup quarterback play, that offense just wasn't moving. James Conner was hurt. It was just a dud of a year for Pittsburgh Steelers. But if you rewind the tape back to 2018, I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, it's because Antonio Brown was on the team. But I think they have good passing options other than Juju to take a little bit of heat off of him. But in 2018, he finished as wide receiver 8. Big Ben finished quarterback number 2, both in fantasy, obviously. But I think you're just going to see him return to that form. You know, he had over 1,000 yards, almost double-digit touchdowns, almost 100 receptions. And I think you're going to see him return to that form with weapons like Johnson, Claypool, Ebron to take some of the focus off of him. You're going to see him be a solid wide receiver 2 this year who can put up wide receiver 1 numbers in a good chunk of games. So I like him here at number 25.
See, I'm not a big fan of Juju this year. I mean, you believe in the hype. I haven't seen nothing for him to prove to me that he's worth a, top 12 wide receiver pick? Like, what do you got him at right now? What wide receiver?
I think I got him at 14.
14?
So
still, I mean, I would rather have, like, Amari Cooper. I'd rather have Cooper Kupp. I'd rather have DJ Moore, Odell. I just rather have the potential wide receivers that I know that have the capability of giving me those high fantasy points. Like, I just don't believe in the Juju. Like, there's no Juju. Or you could say there is Juju. I don't know, but I'm just staying away from fucking Juju. That's just me. I'm staying away from Juju.
There you have it. Ben's got bad Juju.
Yeah.
But Fantasy Pros actually has Juju going next here at 26. Me and you, again, have somebody going different. So go ahead. Tell them who you got, Ben.
Yeah, I know you have him a little bit earlier. We talked about this in the second round, but I have Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette, 259 fantasy points last year. I like the situation he is in Jacksonville. The situation in Jacksonville is the fact that they don't really know who they are. They have a quarterback, Gardner Minshew, who the only thing that's proved to me is that he knows how to rock a fucking mustache. Other than that, he's made I saw a comeback game against a rival team, which that division is not even that strong anyway.
Not
you know, it's just a lot to prove on that offense, and I think Leonard Fournette is just going to be the ball carrier there. They're going to hand him the ball. He's going to get the red zone touches. As long as he can stay healthy. That's my main concern with him. But, yeah, I got here at my RB15. and I like where he sits.
Yeah, like I said, I'm higher on Fournette. Like you said, I took him in the second round, the last episode. If you guys check that out, but so I'm loving him and what I think he's gonna do this season. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take my first QB off the board here, Patrick Mahomes. So he's just in too dangerous of an offense not to want him. He's in the most dangerous offense in football. And I know Lamar Jackson had a ridiculous season last year, but I just think Patrick Mahomes is a safer pick at quarterback. He missed a couple games with injury last year, still put up a great season with 4,000 passing yards. Didn't quite get as many touchdowns, but again, I think that's because he missed some games due to injury. But the big thing why I have Patrick Mahomes over Lamar Jackson is because just his style of play. It's better for Mahomes because he doesn't run around and risk getting hurt by these big linebackers that are going to try and take him out. He does run a little bit. I think he had 2 rushing touchdowns last year, just over 200 yards rushing. But he gets it with his arm, and that's how you get it. And he has a ridiculous amount of weapons. So I think that he's a special quarterback. Missed a couple weeks with that knee injury last year, but I think you're going to see him return to his form where he won the MVP, and he's going to have another MVP caliber season this season. So, 2020 Patrick Mahomes, 26 in the third round. I just say get him on your roster somewhere here in the third round.
Yeah, no, I have Patrick Mahomes going in my next pick at 27, and Patrick Mahomes, like he said, he's just a dual threat quarterback. He can throw the ball and not even look. I like him over Lamar Jackson this year, just for the fact that the Titans, figured out Lamar Jackson and they stopped him. They can use that tape. We already know what Patrick Mahomes can do, and he's won a Super Bowl. He's won an MVP. What else does he need to prove? Is what I'm trying to say.
Especially at such a young
age. And he's
age.
Consistent. He's consistent, and he knows how to come back. Lamar Jackson. We saw that he's a good quarterback. He's very clutch at times, but when it came down to the playoffs, wasn't that clutch.
So next Fantasy Pros has Lamar Jackson here at 27, and I absolutely agree with them. This guy has been the epitome of a playmaker since his days at Louisville. Action Jackson, baby.
Action Jackson, flexing, waxing.
He's just an absolute nightmare for defenses. And, I just feel like his accomplishment last season is a little overshadowed by how great of a season Christian McCaffrey had. But he was the 5th best fantasy season of all time. I know McCaffrey put up the 2nd best of all time, but this guy did something special last year. First quarterback to ever throw for 3,000 yards and rush for more than 1,000.
Broke Michael Vick's record.
Broke his rookie record. Also led the league in touchdown passes with 36. My one knock against him is, he's a running quarterback, so it's the true definition of a double-edged sword. He's going to get you his points with his legs, as well as he's going to risk getting injured. So, you just got to weigh your options there. But I do like him here this early just because of the amount that he could produce. We saw him play a full season last year doing this, and the other knock I have against him is that the Ravens are a run-heavy team. They outrushed every other team by more than 100 rushing attempts last year. The next closest being the 49ers. But, this is a quarterback on a rush-heavy team. He's actually the 2nd leading rusher last year behind Mark Ingram. So he gets the ball, he gets the touches, he gets the touchdowns, checks off all the marks. My one knock against him, and it's the only reason I have him under Mahomes, is his play style just is too much of a risk for me to want him before Mahomes. But his upside is obviously greater, so I do like him here, and I think that, seeing him staying healthy is promising, and if he could put together another healthy season, he's absolutely worth an early 3rd round pick at quarterback here.
Yeah, no, I have a Lamar Jackson at 28. You've said it all. Like I said, Lamar Jackson. I've had Lamar Jackson last year. He actually won me my championship, and I got him off the waiver wire
Who told you to pick him up right after Luck retired.
I saw him before he even said anything. But regardless of that, if you really wanted him, you would have picked him up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put it that way. But Lamar Jackson is just a special specimen of his own. Like he said, he can give you the rushing yards. He can do the passing yards. The reason why I have Lamar Jackson lower than Patrick Mahomes is that he's one RG3 injury away from being RG3.
Exactly.
And I would hate to see that because he puts on a great show. He just puts on a great show. And not even that I enjoy watching him. As a Cowboys fan, I enjoy watching him. But also as a fantasy fan. You know that feeling when you're watching football and you see your fantasy player just go off every week and you're just like, man, I am so happy I got him. That would be Lamar Jackson. that is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, man. I mean, we both love these quarterbacks going early here in the third round.
Yeah.
They're definitely worth,
Back to back. They have to go back to back.
These guys are absolutely special. They're the future of the league. I'm thinking these guys, if they both stay healthy, God, I hope so, because I love watching them both play. But they could be like the next Peyton Manning, Tom Brady rivalry of the future.
And I tell you right now, I can see, because fantasy football changes every year. ADPs, positions, who's going what. I remember, like 4 or 5 years ago, QBs were going first, like first round pick, Peyton Manning. I can see that happening soon. If these Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson consistently go off and putting all these points, there's no reason why you wouldn't want to spend your first round pick. If they prove themselves, I'm talking about like in the season 2, 3, you might see that people picking Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes first overall. Like, I can see that happening again.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. These guys, like we said, special players, and you want them on your roster. They're worth the early draft capital right here.
Yeah.
So definitely, but these are the only two guys that hit that tier for me right now. We'll see what happens down the line, but like these guys are just special players, and at the quarterback position, I agree with taking them early just because of their upside.
But who do you got at 28?
28, I mean, here we got our quarterbacks out of the way early, and you're probably not going to see another quarterback for a little while, but I'm going to go back to hitting wide receiver here at 28 with Cooper Kupp. I finally come around on this guy. I wasn't sold on him. Yeah, I wasn't sold on him early, but, after his 2018 season, but after seeing him last year, I see the upside now. This guy could be special. He finished wide receiver 4 last year with 270.5 fantasy points. And he only started 14 games, so he missed a couple.
And Brandon Cooks is gone now.
Yeah, that's my next point is now you got Brandon Cooks out of town. Now you got Todd Gurley out of town. That opens up over 100 targets to be redistributed, man. And, he caught 94 of his already 134 targets for over 70% catch rate. So if he plays a full season and his target share goes up somehow, there's other mouths to feed there, but I just don't see this guy not putting together another monster season. It's just going to depend on how well that line protects Jared Goff and Jared Goff's quarterback play, but I just see nothing but upside for Kupp this year. Definitely going to finish a top 10 wide receiver in my eyes. So I like him here.
Yeah.
And
I like Cooper Kupp also. I mean, I have him a little bit behind you, but I love the upside, and I totally agree with everything you're saying. Even my son likes him. He doesn't know how to say Cooper Kupp, but he says Sippy Cup. So he goes Sippy Cup, and I love Sippy Cup. That's my new nickname for him, Sippy Cup. Love him.
next we got 29. Who do you got here?
29, I got Amari Cooper. And I'm a huge Cowboys fan. I think it's my second Cowboy going off the radar right now. I like Amari Cooper. I love the potential. We've seen what he can do last year. He's getting Dak Prescott back. He signed the franchise tag, so now we know that Dak Prescott is most likely going to be there. Hopefully he can get a contract done before the deadline. But yeah, I just he's a great route runner. You see his awareness. Remember the Eagles game in overtime where the ball just hits off the hand and he saw it out of nowhere, came and went for the touchdown?
Yeah.
You remember that game?
Yeah, yeah.
But it was his awareness is just amazing. And now that they have CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Blake Jarwin stepping up because Jason Witten's gone now. There's a lot of weapons, and not like you can't focus one person on Amari Cooper because he's such a great route runner that he's going to break you. He's going to get open. So it's going to be hard to figure out this Cowboy offense for the most part, but I like Amari Cooper on where he's going right now. I got him at wide receiver 10, 29. I like the upside that he brings, especially now that they brought CeeDee Lamb in.
Yeah. Cooper, I had going earlier. I think he's going to be, a heavy weapon. I think, Gallup and Cooper were very even with their targets and their snap share, but I think you're actually going to see Cooper run into that wide receiver 1 role more now that they have other lesser options like CeeDee Lamb, who's going to line up a 3 receiver set. So I think, like you said, Dak is betting on himself this year, being on a franchise tag. So he's going to have to succeed. And for him to succeed, this guy's the number 1 guy on the offense that's going to have to succeed with him. So I guess if Dak's going to bet on himself, the people taking him here, you're going to have to bet on it too. And I think that it's a good bet, man. Here at 29 for me, I got DJ Moore coming off the board here. He had a great breakout year last season, 87 catches out of 135 targets, 1,175 yards, only 4 touchdowns, but as a sophomore wide receiver in the league, that's a great job, especially with a backup quarterback like, who was it, Brandon Allen or someone like that? I forgot his name.
Kyle Allen.
With backup quarterback Kyle Allen, with Cam Newton being out. So, now you got to upgrade from, I believe, an upgrade from Cam Newton and definitely an upgrade from Allen.
Yeah.
And Teddy Bridgewater coming to town.
Love
they got
him.
A new offense with Coach Rule coming to town. Christian McCaffrey's there to take off some of the heat, so guys are going to have to stack the box to stop him. They brought in Robbie Anderson. You may think that may take some touches away from him, but Greg Olsen also left there, so there's some more targets that open up for them, for those receivers there. So I don't think it's going to affect his target value or share that much, but he finished wide receiver 21 last year. I see him finishing probably in the higher rounds, as a wide receiver 15 maybe, like Mike Evans did last year. I think he could absolutely outproduce those kind of numbers, and could even be a surprise to be a wide receiver 1, depending on how great Teddy Bridgewater does with this kid. So I like him going here.
And he's gonna be. But I'm not gonna say number 1 target because Christian McCaffrey most likely gonna be the number 1 target.
Yeah.
But definitely number 2 is gonna be DJ Moore in that offense. He's gonna get the deep balls. I like Teddy Bridgewater too, so I like where you got him going. I actually got him at 31, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I'm going to get right into 30 here. You had Cooper at 29, I had DJ Moore, but I'm going to go into the big receiver here, Mike Evans. So I know everyone has him ranked higher, and I'm not saying he's not going to be a good receiver this year. I think he's going to, put up good numbers, but I actually, I get into this in my video that I covered the Bucs on. If you guys want to check that out, that's on our YouTube channel. But I just have a couple reasons why he drops down for me so much this year, and one of them is Tom Brady. Tom Brady loves his slots. Godwin's in the slot and on the outside. Evans only plays on the outside for the most part. Then you got Gronk coming to town, and that's going to definitely take away some red zone and jump ball targets from him, which that's where Evans gets his money. So and I think that Tom's just more comfortable with Gronk, and that's just going to take away some of the valuable down the field passes that he needs to succeed. He has had 6,000-yard seasons in a row, so he's definitely one of the most consistent receiving options. And he finished wide receiver 15 last year, even though he missed a couple games. But I don't know. I just think he's going to wind up finishing in this about the same spot he did last year, between wide receiver 14 and 16. And it's not because he's going to be injured; it's because he's going to see the value of his targets drop. Just because Brady plays a different style of game than Winston does. He's not going to have, just throw the ball up, go get it, Mike. Oops, it's an interception. It's going to be calculated along down the field passes and not as much volume that he's used to.
Yeah.
So I like him here later than most at 30. And I think, if you're drafting him in the first or the early second round, he's not going to give you that value in that ADP. So I like him here later if you could wait on him.
Yeah. No, I have Mike Evans a little bit higher. When I think of Mike Evans with Tom Brady, I think of Tom Brady and Randy Moss, how it could potentially be like that. But I do understand what Josh is saying, though. Like, he's Tom Brady, like I said it before, he's a check down quarterback. He's going to check down from the running back to the tight end to the slot. He checks down everywhere he goes. He's not really mainly looking for that deep threat for the most part, but it does happen. But yeah, so at 30 here, I got Cooper Kupp, and I love Sippy Cup. Especially like where he's going, because I have Cooper Kupp over Odell Beckham, Adam Thielen, Juju Smith-Schuster, Keenan Allen, Robert Woods. I like the upside that he brings. We've already talked about what he's capable of with Todd Gurley not being there, with Brandon Cooks not being there. I just think the upside is there. He showed us last year with 270 fantasy points. I just like him. I like him right here. He finished wide receiver 4 last year. Wow. Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
Sleeping on him, I'm telling you. And, I don't think he's going to hit those numbers again. Might have a little bit of regression. But, if he did that with Cooks and Gurley, he still led in targets, 135. But, that number could go up, guys.
That's crazy what I just saw. I thought it was a typo for a second when I saw that. Wide receiver 4. Holy shit, he is wide receiver 4 last year. Yeah. He did that good. And no wonder why I freaking like him so much. That's crazy. But yeah, no, Cooper Kupp. I definitely like him. Especially around here, I got him at wide receiver 11 for me. Top wide receiver right there. That's wide receiver 1. Yeah. That's what I like.
Yeah, I think top 12. He's definitely a wide receiver one this year in both of our opinions.
Yeah.
He's going to fill that out.
Definitely. But at 31, I have DJ Moore. We've already talked about DJ Moore. With him, Teddy Bridgewater in the picture now. And I have Teddy Bridgewater as a huge sleeper at quarterback. And I think the potential that them two can have, the chemistry that they can do, DJ Moore, we've seen what he can do without Teddy Bridgewater with some rookie quarterbacks, as we said. So I'm very excited to see what they can do. I'd like to see the chemistry. He put up 230 fantasy points last year, finished wide receiver 16. I think he's going to do better, maybe wide receiver 12, 13 maybe, but he's definitely going to increase a little bit. What do you have at 31?
Yeah, at 31, I'm going to go with a guy that I think some people are disrespecting a little bit. And I feel like he's been disrespected on this team for a while. They've been trying to take the starting job away from him, and that's Chris Carson. He had a great year a couple years back. They drafted, Rashad Penny in the first round, who I had graded as a third-round running back. He hasn't really, formulated to being what they expected him to be. But Chris Carson's been solid, man. He finished running back 12 last year.
Dude, they led the league in rushing, like 2 years ago?
Yeah, and then they also had, and then the year before that, he finished as a top RB2 as running back 15. So this guy's putting together a string of consistency. Running back 15, running back 12, and now you take Rashad Penny out of the fold because he's going to start the season off injured, and he has a decent O-line, but this offense runs a lot. They ran fifth most in the league last year. I think that this guy could put together another really solid season.
He finished as an RB1 last year.
Yeah, right at the bottom, and then he finished RB15. So I think this is like that cream of the crop RB2 guy that'll give you RB1 number some year, and he doesn't have any more competition in the backfield for touches anymore. Yeah, they did sign Carlos Hyde, but I don't think that was to challenge him for touches as much as it is an insurance policy because he does get nicked up with those ankle injuries sometimes.
Yeah, he did get hurt at the end of the season too.
Yeah, they're very similar, Hyde and Carson, where their running styles. So I don't think Hyde is gonna take touches away from him necessarily. I think he's going to obviously go in when Carson's tired and take up some of those touches. But they're the same back. I don't think that Hyde's there to be a change of pace back or to take touches away from Carson. So this is going to be the first time we're going to see Carson be the workhorse there, and they're going to give him that load because they don't got another choice.
Yeah.
So I think that he's going to absolutely thrive with that, and on a team that runs fifth most in the league. And a successful team like that has two good outside threats like Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, they're not going to be able to stack the box all the time because they're going to have to worry about those downfield threats. So I think we could see this guy really succeed this year, and I like him here at 31.
Yeah, 31. Yeah, I have Chris Carson at 32, and I've already mentioned it. I love Chris Carson this year. Seattle Seahawks finished, I think, number one in rushing 2 years ago with Chris Carson on it. They really don't have anybody else in that backfield. Rashard Penny is hurt all the time. I think he's still hurt. Yep. You got McKissick over there.
He takes a couple of passes away from him,
yeah,
but nothing to really worry about.
I mean, Chris Carson, he's going to get some catches too here and there. The great thing about Seattle is Russell Wilson knows how to extend plays. So if he's throwing a pass play, Chris Carson's out there. If he doesn't see anybody there, he can extend that play and put it short to him. That's what I like about Chris Carson. He's in a good situation over there in Seattle. But yeah, I got him as my running back 16. He finished last year with 232 fantasy points. And like I said, he finished as an RB1 last year. And I think he's going to do the same thing this year, especially with nobody in that backfield to basically intrude on him. What do you got at 32?
Here at 32, I got someone who I'm a little lower on most end. I just don't think he's going to have the same season he had last year, and that's Austin Eckler. He was absolutely fantastic that year.
That's so low.
He epitomized the saying being a receiver out of the backfield. He had better receiving stats than guys like Devontae Adams did last year. He had 94 passes caught for 993 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. Just receiving. Now, my one big knock on him is he only ran 132 times for 552 yards. He did only start half the season with 8 games, and he's never carried the full load of a season as the workhorse back. He is a smaller back. I don't think they're going to change that. I think they're going to try and put him in the same role they did last year, and you're going to see guys like running back Justin Jackson get kind of that Melvin Gordon role where he's an early down back, or even the rookie they drafted, Kelly, he might take over some of that early down work, and you're going to see Austin Eckler play like, mid to late picks. But I mean, I just don't see him putting up those numbers again, man. That is a ridiculous season. 993 receiving yards as a receiver. That's Christian McCaffrey.
You're telling me that he didn't earn that?
I'm not saying he didn't earn it. I'm just saying I don't see it happening again with quarterbacks like Tyrod Taylor, who's a career bridge quarterback, and a rookie quarterback in Justin Herbert. I don't see that happening again. The one thing I have for Tyrod Taylor being the quarterback here, and he's probably going to start the quarterback and then they're going to change to Justin Herbert. But the one thing I have for Tyrod Taylor starting here is he has the exact same dump-off rate as Phillip Rivers did last year. Phillips Rivers' dump-off rate was 87%, and that was Tyrod Taylor's last starting season's percentage.
Yeah, he didn't even play a whole
well.
season. Though.
Exactly, because
Phillip Rivers did.
No, yeah, exactly. But Phillip Rivers is now in Indy. You got a guy that's a bridge quarterback, and a running quarterback. You got a guy that is a rookie quarterback there. You're just going to see the quarterback play hurt a lot of these players, I think. That's why you see guys like Keenan Allen dropping in drafts. I think you need to realize that he's not going to have another 1,000-yard receiving season. And if he's not having a 1,000-yard receiving season, I'd say take 200-300 yards away from that receiving total, and you got a guy who's putting up 500 yards and 500 rushing. I don't think he's going to be that running back one that everybody's drafting him as. He had a wonderful season last year, but I just see him being this year's James White, where the year before he was a PPR cheat code, and then all of a sudden he dropped into the middle of the pack. You know what I'm saying? That's where I see Eckler.
I don't see Eckler as James White. I see Eckler as an Eckler, and when I saw Eckler last year, I just thought he performed so well, and that's why he's high. I had him in the second round, and he's a PPR dream. I mean, just to say that you're going to be like, I just think another James White. I just think that's absurd. Like, I honestly think that, and especially, like I said, the quarterback situation, dump off passes, their short passes, the handoffs, it's all right there, man. Like, why would you not want to take them?
I mean, even if Phillip Rivers was still there, I'd still knock this guy a little bit down, just because that's such a ridiculous amount of receiving for a running back. You're not going to have.
This shows how good he is, though.
You're not going to reproduce that, though, unless you're a guy like Christian McCaffrey, who's a dual threat, which this guy is not a dual threat. He's not a rusher. He's not a between the tackles guy.
He's better at the passer, but he can rush. We've seen him rush before.
552 yards compared to his 993. I mean, that just tells me the story right there.
But you also had Melvin Gordon there.
Exactly.
Melvin Gordon ain't there no more.
I still don't think that.
And Justin Jackson was there. He did dick.
I know, because Melvin Gordon was there. But now that Melvin Gordon's out of town and you got guys like Justin Jackson there, or the running back rookie Kelly, I still think that he's not going to get the full load.
You know what was funny? Last year, and I'm telling you because I'm looking at the camera right now, and I know, and you know who I'm talking about. There were people out there in the fantasy football world that were not high on Eckler last year. Everybody was saying, skip Eckler, go for Justin Jackson. I think he has the best upside, blah, blah, blah. And look what happened. They were wrong. I drafted Austin Eckler last year in the 8th round. And I tell you right now, best pick up I've ever had in my life. He finished, he was my RB2. Yeah. RB2, and he was intended to be my RB4. Like, that's awesome, man. And that's how it's supposed to be. I think he's going to continue with that. Where you have him and where I have him are way two different spots. But, that's fantasy football. Some people have different opinions than others.
Yeah.
But
show them what you got behind the curtain at 33, brother.
Yeah, 33, I have OBJ now. The Brown situation over there is weird. They have a lot of mouths to feed, especially in the backfield. You got Hunt and Chubb. Wide receiver core, they got Higgins. They got OBJ. They got Jarvis Landry. They just picked up Austin Hooper from Atlanta. Yep. David Njoku, is he still there too?
He's the number 2 option at tight end.
That's just so many mouths to feed now. But with Odell, I feel like Odell has the biggest upside out of everybody on there. He's just a special weapon, He gets those quick slants, and no one can really touch him. His yak is out of control. I like OBJ right here. I got him as my wide receiver 13. He finished wide receiver 25 last year with 201 fantasy points. I do expect those numbers to come up a little bit, just to the fact of the chemistry. How bad is Baker Mayfield? Whether you think he's bad or you think he's good, I think he's going to improve a little bit more than he did last year, obviously. So yeah, I like OBJ here at 33.
Look, this is Odell's last chance season
Yeah,
for me.
no,
You
definitely.
know, I mean, I don't know if he's ever going to return to his New York Giants form. You know, he's always got the camera on him, but it's for the wrong reasons. At 33, I got another receiving option for a team. This time, the Eagles. It's Zach Ertz. Now, this dude's been the highest targeted player on the Eagles for the past 2 years. Always finishes as a top option at tight end. He has the 4th easiest schedule for 2020
It's
for
like
a
the
tight
top
end.
option on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. He gets peppered with targets in this offense, man. But
Red zone,
I
heavy.
think, you know, he consistently finishes as a top 5 wide receiver. He has one of the easiest schedules for his position that he's had in a while. I think he's in a prime position to have another, great year. This guy, they got Deshaun Jackson there now. Alshon Jeffrey's healthy. They drafted a wide receiver in the first round. I don't know if he'll get the 130 targets like he's used to, but he'll still wind up most likely leading that offense in getting targets. So I like him here at 33. I think he's a safe bet. He'll definitely be, a guy you can draft at tight end and feel like you got, a solid wide receiver too for that position at tight end.
Yeah, no, definitely. At 34, I have Zach Ertz. I feel like this is like a pattern with me and you right now. But
Just a bit more.
yeah, just a little bit. But I like Zach Ertz going at 34. He finished tight end 4 last year, 215 fantasy points. I got him at my tight end 3 going right now. I like the upside. He's the number 1 target on the offense on the Eagles. As a Cowboys fan, like I said, we face these Eagles twice a year. Just like the Giants, twice a year. When we face the Giants, I'm always looking at Saquon Barkley. That's the one guy I'm only worried about. Now, with the Eagles, the one guy I'm worried about is Zach Ertz. I don't know why, but he's always freaking getting open, especially against the Cowboys. He was like our Jason Witten to them a couple years ago. You know, like Jason Witten was their worst nightmare. Now, Zach Ertz is starting to look like their Jason Witten. Very much targeted in the red zone. I like his upside. You know, you just mentioned that he has a rookie wide receiver coming in. What was his name again? Rieger, yeah. Yeah, there's not really that much talent on the wide receivers.
They got a track team, man. They got
speed, but
lots of speed.
Yeah,
Goodwin, Rieger, and Deshaun Jackson.
they can get Usain Bolt. Don't mean he can catch a ball though.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Speed is not everything that matters. It definitely helps, but it's not everything.
Speed kills, man.
You know, I think they're trying to imitate the Chiefs, but
Everyone is.
yeah, the Chiefs they just picked up the right specimens.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened over there, but yeah, no, that's why I got Zach Ertz at 34. Who do you got at 34?
Well, for 30, I think this 3rd round spot right here towards the end, middle of the 3rd round, perfect spot for this tight end to go.
Yeah.
But so for me at 34, I got a little bit of a surprise here. Rookie breakout sensation, A.J. Brown. Dude, I loved watching this kid last year. Some are going to say it's a little high, but, they do run a lot there. But I think with them going out and committing to bringing back Ryan Tannehill, I think that it shows that, this guy's what they got there. He's going to be like Courtland Sutton was last year for the Broncos, where he's really the only receiving option they got there. Delaney Walker walked away. They let him go. They got Jonnu Smith, who's, some people are saying could be a breakout at tight end, but I'm not sold on it. I think he's a little too small to really be that tight end. He has speed, but moving on, I think A.J. Brown is going to wind up getting a heavy, heavy target load because he's the only one that catches there, man. Corey Davis can't put his hands on anything. Jonnu Smith's unproven, in my opinion. Derrick Henry doesn't really catch the ball in the backfield, and they don't have anyone that does it. Who are you going to throw to? This guy. And everyone's going to be worried about Henry rushing that ball again.
Isn't Tajay Sharp still on that team?
Is he?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm scared. I don't know.
Tajay Sharp was supposed to be a big guy, but this guy...
If he's not fantasy relevant, I don't care.
Dude, this guy's an animal. You'll look at him working out. He's standing next to DJ Metcalf. You'd think they were twins, and DJ Metcalf's a huge wide receiver.
Yeah.
This guy's a big, strong guy. He led the league in 20-yard passes. He averaged 20 yards a catch. And, he didn't even start the full season. So let's see what he could do starting a full season. Where with only 52 receptions starting half the season, he had 1,051 yards and 8 touchdowns. Now, I think his touchdown production might go down a little bit just because people are going to be watching him, but I still think he's going to put up more yards and have more receptions because he's going to have more targets. So I'm up on this kid. I think he's going to be really good this year.
Yeah, I don't see what you're seeing right there with A.J. Brown, man. I don't. Ryan Tannehill, I'm glad what he did. He shined last year, and I'm so happy for him that he shined. But let's just face it, man. It's Ryan Tannehill. I don't care what you say. He didn't win those games. Derrick Henry won those games, and I'm not gonna prove myself. I love A.J. Brown this year. I'm not gonna say A.J. Brown is a bad talent at all. Josh hit the nail on the head when he said there's no other targets besides A.J. Brown there, and I totally agree. It's just I'd rather have an OBJ. There's so many. I have A.J. Brown as my wide receiver 20. My wide receiver 20. I just talked about Odell Beckham, who's 13. I have 7 other wide receivers that I think are better than A.J. Brown right now. And I like I said, I like him, just not where he sits with him at least. Yeah, at 35, I have a Thielen, and that's Adam Thielen. And Adam Thielen, like I said, he didn't do that well because he got hurt last year. Only 114 fantasy points. Finished wide receiver 64. I mean, but Stephon Diggs is out now. He's healthy. You know, he's still got Kirk Cousins as a quarterback. Dalvin Cook might be holding out. You know, if Dalvin Cook does hold out, they're not going to run the ball with Madison as much as they did with Cook. So who's going to get those targets, you know? Mason Rudolph? Not really.
Maybe rookie wide receiver Jefferson?
Justin Jefferson, yeah. Maybe Adam Thielen. That's the man right there. And I like Adam Thielen where he's sitting right now. I got him at wide receiver 14. You know, I just like it right now at the 35. At 35 sits perfectly with me.
Yeah, I like Thielen here. He's not bad. I think I have him going a little later, maybe in the early fourth round.
Yeah.
But I think he is the man there, and when he's healthy, he's the man. Last year, you know, just like Juju, forget about this season for Adam Thielen. He finished wide receiver 64, which is literally, I think, one spot above Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah.
You know, so forget about that. He was injured most of the season. He had to cry to Kirk Cousins in the media to throw the ball, you know. So now they're going to throw the ball, and I think with Thielen being healthy, they got a replacement for Diggs. You're going to see him return to his role, being that number one receiver and, you know, doing well, where he finished, I believe, in the top 10 wide receivers 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
So
What do you got at 35, though?
At 35, I'm going to go with my first rookie coming off the board here, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Oh, my God.
CEH, baby.
Get
Dude,
that shit out of here.
it's all about getting a piece of this Chiefs offense. We've been preaching that to you. It's all about getting a piece, man. And I know it's a little early to be taking him here, you know, but so I see people taking him at the end of the second round. At the end,
Which I have no idea why.
I think that's too early.
Why? He's a rookie running back. Guys, I understand he's on the Chiefs. I get it. But why would you want to reach so high for someone that you have no idea what he's capable of? You did it with Saquon. Luckily, that paid off for you. But Saquon's a specimen.
Yeah.
We're not comparing
Well,
Clyde Edwards-Helaire to Saquon Barkley.
I'm going to get into the differences between Saquon and this kid. Now look, this kid, he's in the Chiefs offense. He's a very good back in college. He had 1,414 yards on a national championship team. He had 16 rushing touchdowns. Those are great college numbers. Like, that would be the equivalent of putting up 1,200 yards in the NFL. You know, so he's a smaller back. That's my one issue with him. Like Maurice Jones-Drew small, but without the power. He's 5'7", 207, and he didn't have a, you know, out of the park combine, running only 4.6 40-yard dash. That's not really spectacular, you know, for a guy, especially that small, who you're expecting to be real speed. But I think his ability outweighs his physicality, I guess, for lack of a better word. But, you know, he did have a 39.5-inch vertical jump, which shows the power in the thighs. You know, not like Saquon thighs, but, you know, decent jump ability, which means that he has strong legs to keep him moving in those piles. But I think you're going to see this guy be a good wide receiver too, and he's going to be used in many different ways. Damian Williams is definitely going to probably see some touches. But
he's going to start.
But
you saw the Super Bowl game, bro.
I don't think he's going to start.
Well.
You know how many?
If you were in the Super Bowl and you were the running back and you got two touchdowns,
dude, I agree,
and over 100 yards, and you come into the next season and they draft the rookie and you're like, hey, guess what? You're not going to play. We got the rookie. Even though you just shined in the Super Bowl. Like, it makes no sense to me.
I'm telling you, if it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes running that game-winning drive, I honestly think Damian Williams would have been the Super Bowl MVP. But here's the thing. Andy Reid, been a coach for a long time. Had a couple great backs. Brian Westbrook, LaShawn McCoy. You know how many he drafted in the first round?
Zero. Yeah, I know.
Zero. So this is the first time that he's had a talent that he's deemed worthy at running back to
what-
draft in the first round.
but here's
I
the better-
don't think that he's not going to get utilized and not be utilized heavily. So if you're thinking that this guy could be anything like Kareem Hunt, I think taking him here at the end of the third round is a great spot for him.
Now let me ask you this. Although you just said how many times did the Chiefs pick a running back with their first pick, how many times have the Chiefs been 32 in the first round?
No,
You
not
don't-
the Chiefs. Andy Reid.
Or even Andy Reid in general. When's the last time Andy Reid was 32 in the background with all that talent,
I think,
first round
2000, I
talent
think
gone?
2005 when he had Brian Westbrook and Donovan McNabb.
At that
and they
point,
lost.
you're looking at best available, and
Yeah.
right there, at that, they thought that he was the best available.
Actually, DeAndre Swift was actually regarded as the consensus best running back in
I
this
like
draft.
Swift. I like Helaire over Swift, especially and coming
JK
to college. I did.
And J.K. Dobbins, I think they had him rate CEH ranked as the third or fourth. But I think Andy Reid's got some schemes for this kid, and I think he's going to be heavily utilized. And I think that, like we've been preaching, any piece of this Chiefs offense is going to be great. And if you
Yes.
get the lead back of this, probably what's going to be a little bit of a committee with this kid getting more touches, if he could stay healthy, and he's going to be used in multiple ways. He can catch, he could run. And I think
Don't
he's
get
gonna be
me
good.
wrong about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I am not arguing saying why would you draft him. I'm saying why would you draft him right here. If he falls back into the fourth round, I can see myself picking him up. But you still got Le'Veon Bell here. You still got Melvin Gordon, even though I'm shaking on Melvin Gordon, but still you got him there. You got David Johnson still here. You still got Devin Singletary. I just don't see him doing what he's going to do, especially in the beginning of the season. I can definitely see him mid-season. Damian Williams gets hurt. What a shocker. I can see him definitely taking that big step going towards next year being that elite round 2, round 3 running back. As of right now as a rookie, you got to prove something to me. As of right now, in my mind, Damian Williams in the beginning of the season is going to get most of that work. I'm not going to bank on someone right now that I know is not going to even put up wide receiver 2 numbers in the beginning of the season. I'm just not going to do that.
I think he will. I think he's going to be a special player. I think that this is the rookie running back to bite on this year just because of the offense he's in. And I think, Andy Reid's got some schemes for this kid to succeed. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been a first-round pick. They would have taken another wide receiver since they got Sammy Watkins back on a 1-year deal. They're going to need to replace him. I know Mecole Hardman's there. But, if they really thought that, we could just – because it was defined as a luxury pick. They didn't need anything.
If you get Clyde Edwards-Helaire as your running back 3, go for it.
That's not happening, though. Everyone's taking him earlier, and usually it's at the end of the second round. I like him here much later at the end of the third, but I think this is the spot where his value is going to be for you.
If he falls in the 4th round,
yeah.
I would definitely consider taking him. Here at the 3rd, definitely not.
Yeah.
It's just I'd rather a safer pick.
Yeah,
I don't know him. Get out of my house.
But all right, let's finish it up here with 36. I'm gonna go right into who I got. I got OBJ here at 36. He's my wide receiver 15. Look, he didn't do great last year. Wide receiver 25. He was definitely a big disappointment for what you thought he was gonna do. There was more. I'm just tired of how much bad press this guy gets. He's such a good player, but even going back to his New York Giants days, kicking and proposing to the kicking net. Wearing $350,000 watches on the field. Getting reprimanded for wearing offensive cleats or whatever. I think that's stupid, but still, if you know it's going to draw negative attention to you, don't do it.
Yeah.
But will we ever see him return to that form where he was a top wide receiver? I don't know. We'll see. It all depends on how good Baker Mayfield's going to be this year.
Yeah.
And he claimed that he was hurt all last year, and him and Jarvis Landry both had maintenance surgeries done in this offseason, and they're supposed to be fine by the beginning of the season. So we'll see how good this does. But I mean, even if you're talking about Landry, he was I think wide receiver 12 last year, and he also played nicked up, but he didn't bring the negative attention to him. So this is like my last chance for OBJ. If he doesn't produce this season, then he's forever condemned to the wide receiver 2s for me. He's never going to be a first-round pick again if he doesn't finally prove it this year. This is his last chance. I mean, he's got an easy wide receiver schedule with number 5, and I'm just taking him here for the potential. I think that right here you got a guy that can put up top 10 numbers if he focuses on the field and stops worrying about the stupid shit off of it.
Yeah. OBJ, like I said, got him wide receiver 13. I like the upside, but Josh, like I said, hit the nail on the head. Like, he needs to get his shit together. Just grow up. Grow up. That's all you gotta do. Stop hitting shit.
Get fantasy points, bro!
God damn it. Anyway, so at 36, I have Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, I know Fantasy Pros is high on him. I know Josh is high on him. I don't really see the hype. I know the talent is there. You know, I have him going as my wide receiver 15. He finished with 113 fantasy points. And wide receiver 65 he finished last year. You know what it is? I haven't seen anything since Antonio Brown left. He hasn't really improved. He hasn't really shown that he can take that next step and be that number one elite. You know, as far as I'm concerned, he's just a plus size number 2. He's more of a Michael Gallup right now, the way I look at it. And I just don't see him sitting high. If Ben Roethlisberger does stay healthy, he can definitely do some magical things on that field. And when I mean like magic, he can probably produce that RB1, but I'm not going to sell it right then and there. You know, Ben Roethlisberger, he got hurt last year, and he's old. He's 38 years old. 38 years old. I mean, he was considering retiring a year or two ago, and yeah. I don't see it happening for Juju Smith-Schuster this year. I think he's going to finish maybe around wide receiver 20, between 15 and 20. That's where I see him finishing. He's definitely going to put up wide receiver 2 numbers if he has a great year. I just don't think he's going to put up the wide receiver 1 numbers. I mean, if Ben Roethlisberger, like I said, Ben Roethlisberger stays healthy, then maybe. But.
Yeah, everything's dependent on Ben. Like I said, throw away last season, forget about it.
Yeah.
Big Ben only played 2 games. Crappy backup quarterback play was the reason why all these Pittsburgh players did terribly. So now you got Ben Roethlisberger back. You kind of got to give this kid a chance again because his 1 year where he didn't have Antonio Brown was last year. So you kind of got to let this kid show himself. I really think that he's going to succeed, just like a lot of people last year thought he was going to succeed. But unfortunately, the cards fell in a different direction with Ben getting hurt, Connor getting hurt, Juju getting hurt. So now I think this year you have other receiving options that people got to worry about, like Johnson, who played great last year, even with crappy quarterback play. And James Washington, I think, is going to fall into the background as the 4th option in that passing option. They picked up Chase Claypool, my boy out of Notre Dame, love him, 6'4". People thought he was a tight end, but then he ran a 4.42 40.
Yeah.
So he's big, he's fast. He could be that other outside receiver to Juju, but I think that it's going to wind up being a much better passing scenario, especially for all these Pittsburgh weapons with Ben Roethlisberger back in the fold. But guys,
let's see what happens.
We'll see what happens. This is just all us guessing pretty much. No one's an expert. No one's going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. But
Fugazi.
You know what? We appreciate you watching, guys. That's going to be all we got here for our 3rd round rankings. Thanks for checking it out. Give us a like. Hit that subscribe button. We got more content coming out soon. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at TheFantasyGoods. And, send us a message if you'd like to come on the show. We'd love to have you on. Talk football, talk fantasy football, see what you know. Let us know what you want to talk about. See if we can get you on here. But until next time, we're the Fantasy Goods, and we got the goods.